God, I feel like I'm gonna get emotional. It's still very raw. I've always been an advocate for justice, and I grew up in a very unjust household where I would be just emotionally manipulated and gaslighted, scapegoated, everything. I was like the emotional punching bag of the family. So I learned over time that obviously retaliating in the way that would be my true authentic self, like standing up for myself, standing in my worth, in my, I don't know, like I learned that doing that was dangerous for me. Hey girl, this weekend, let me just sit and get comfy on my squeaky chair. This weekend has been eventful, to say the least. Dynamic, let's say. And I just need to fill you in on everything that's gone down, because I feel like you guys are my emotional support blanket and I need to just talk to you about these things. I do feel like there are things that I'm gonna say that will probably resonate with you watching this, and just some like words of advice and things that have helped me through as well. Basically, I had an amazing weekend, amazing start to the weekend. Wait, when did this all happen? Okay, Saturday, amazing, loved it. Went on a date day with my boyfriend and it was so good. Loved every single minute of it. I was so happy, like unusually happy, like so over the top happy. Like I'm a happy person, but like Saturday I just felt like I was jumping for joy, and I don't know whether that's because my boyfriend was taking me out and he was taking me away for the day, and like we went to a city, and I feel like my heart just sets alight when I go to a city. Saturday, great, amazing. Sunday, woke up the next day feeling so pumped, feeling exactly the same kind of way. I was loving it, and I had a really productive morning on Sunday morning. What did I do? So I made breakfast. I went to the gym because I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to the gym. I've not been to the gym in so long. I'm gonna go to the gym. So I go to the gym, do my workout. I am just being that girl. Like I am stood in the gym, taking up space, and like just no fear kind of vibes. Going into the big scary weight section, doing my thing, not being bothered, like feeling like the main character, feeling amazing. And then I take myself to Tesco, I buy myself some sourdough bread because I've got a coupon, and some, what's it called? What the fuck is it called? Oh, some chives. And then I go to town, buy myself some new makeup. I'm just living my life like I'm having the best day. And I go into Marks and Spencer's and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna buy Mother's Day cards. I'm gonna get a Mother's Day card for my mum and for my nan, because I was just feeling so good and I wanted to like, I don't know, spread that love. And then I saw some hot cross buns, and my dad loves hot cross buns. So I was like, of course, I'm gonna get him some. He will really appreciate this. M&S hot cross buns. He will be beside himself, so happy with me. So I get home, I pack up, and I see that I've got a missed call from my dad, and it's just one missed call. I have my phone on do not disturb. Like my phone literally looks like this all the time. You're never gonna catch it seeing my background, my lock screen, because I just don't like notifications, okay? And like if it's urgent, ring me twice and it comes through. Anyway, so I see one missed call. I didn't see that or hear it because I was out and about, I was busy, whatever. And I come home and I'm so happy, like I'm so excited. Oh my God, and I got my dog a like jumbo thing. So happy to give her that, and so happy to give the hot cross buns to my dad. And I walk in, oh my God, I feel like I'm gonna get emotional. It's still very raw. I walk in and immediately my dad just goes off on one. Like he's just so angry at me. He was like, I've been ringing you. And I was like, oh, I saw one missed call, but I've literally just seen that. And then he's like, well, why don't you tell us where you're going? Why don't you do this? Like literally talking to me like I was a teenager. And I think because there is like a big like history in relation to like just my childhood and like my life and how the way that I've like experienced life. And he just starts going so mad, like just being so horrible, really just giving me shit basically. And like, you know, when something is so unsolicited and so unwarranted, uncalled for, because I was in a happy mood. There was no way that I was going into that house or going into this house thinking I was gonna cause an argument, because I was feeling so good. Like honestly, nothing could have dragged me down. I was feeling so on top of the world, so happy, so grateful, so just in alignment. I've just been feeling that at the minute, just so in alignment, feeling so good. And I wasn't in the market for a fight, do you know what I mean? I wasn't in the market for like an argument or anything. And we just start, I bite back essentially, which is something that I've not done since I was a teenager, because obviously growing up I was a very opinionated and very talkative and very like I just had a lot of opinions, and I really believed strongly in justice and I really believed strongly in justice, and I feel like that's probably why I studied law and then I went and studied criminology, and I've always had like an interest in that kind of thing. I worked in a law firm for about 7 years. So I've always been an advocate for justice, and I grew up in a very unjust household where I would be just emotionally manipulated and gaslighted, scapegoated, everything. I was like the emotional punching bag of the family. So I learned over time that obviously retaliating in the way that would be my true authentic self, like standing up for myself, standing in my worth, in my, I don't know, like I learned that doing that was dangerous for me. Nothing physical, like, it was very much all emotional, but it was dangerous for me. That's how I perceived it. It was danger, it was a threat to my safety and my peace and my nervous system, everything. So I learned to shut the fuck up basically and just keep to myself, keep quiet, just not say anything. So it was really quite triggering for me. Not triggering, it was quite a spiritual healing experience in a way. I'm gonna get to that. But it was bringing back a lot of things for me, actually retaliating and standing up for myself and standing my ground. Oh my God, the angle is not the usual angle. I feel like it needs to be more there. Also, I've slicked back my baby hairs because they're pissing me off, quite frankly. Anyway, what was I saying? So basically, he is just going in on me, saying how I don't do anything around the house, I don't clean up after myself, I don't do this, I don't do that, and he does everything for me. And you know when somebody like lies, like fully lies, and you know, as a full-grown adult, I am nearly 26 years old, I know myself now. I know my mind. I know what I've done. I know what I do. I know my flaws. I know my flaws so well. I take a lot of time to self-reflect and be self-aware, so I know where I'm going wrong and I know where I'm slipping up. But one thing you're not going to say about me is that I am a messy person, because I'm not. I have spent my whole entire life living under a microscope of just constantly being told the things that you don't do, picked up on the things that you don't do, things that you do bad, do wrong, any little tiny slip up that you make, and never being praised for anything good. Always being the joke of the family, always being the one that he would put me down in front of the whole entire family, any family friends, anyone, like even my ex-boyfriend and like even my current boyfriend now, like he'll try and do the little jokes and make out that I am something that I'm not. Yeah, so it really does trigger me a lot when somebody lies about me and about the things that I stand for and the things that I try so hard to get perfect, because I've known that growing up as a kid and as a teenager, I wasn't allowed to leave a spoon on the draining board. I wasn't allowed to leave dirty dishes in my room. I wasn't allowed to literally leave. I remember one time I left a metallic straw to dry on the draining board and I wasn't allowed to do that. Like, you would have thought that I had committed genocide. I'm not even joking. The way that he would react to that and just to small little things. And I think when I'm thinking back on this now, when I'm reflecting, I feel like the more that I try to be perfect and try to be this good girl, and the higher that I set my standards of like being, the more he had to really get that magnifying glass out, really get that fucking, not kaleidoscope, what's it called? Microscope out, and look for every tiny little detail, any little thing that I did wrong. I remember one time I left like a bit of seasoning on the kitchen counter and I didn't like wipe that section and all hell broke loose. And it's just, I don't know. So I know that I really am quite psychotic about the way that I keep things clean, especially, I do keep my bedroom clean now. Like I am a clean person, but like especially in communal areas, like I am very, very, very vigilant in that respect. And it's something that I'm very aware of because I have to be aware of it, because as a child growing up, if I wasn't perfect, I was punished. And oh my God, I didn't think it would be this hard to talk about it. I swear I'm going to get to a point. I just feel like you need some context. But yeah, so in this situation, I was very shocked. I was like very taken aback because I was like, what the hell? And I fired some shots, don't get me wrong. I genuinely, when I'm angry, like sometimes I can stumble over my words and sometimes I just like completely forget what I'm saying and like I get brain fog because I'm just so like airy-fairy about certain things. But when I am angry or when someone oversteps the mark with me, I could never be more clear-headed in my life. Like I am so articulate. I can have a vicious tongue. So I stood up for myself fully. And it was just all it was very much like the universe was showing me. It was like it was giving me like a real live action replay of my childhood and how it used to be for me and how scared I used to be and how like my body, the way that my body reacts in that situation. Obviously when I was younger, I wasn't as self-aware as I am now, and I wasn't as like into listening and feeling what my body feels and just understanding myself. So it was quite interesting to be in this situation and to really be feeling what was happening in my body and feeling I was shaking so much, like so much. I was struggling to breathe. I was like getting my words out, but obviously all my oxygen was like being used to speak. My brain was just like, I felt like I'd gone back into like primal mode, and it was just so interesting. It felt like I was observing it from my higher self, and it felt like I was observing my inner child and like seeing how upset and like hurt she was. And honestly guys, there is a reason why I'm telling this story. It was like I could see my inner child, and I could see her shaking and see her so hysterically crying and fighting for her cause and standing up for herself and standing up for what she knew to be right. And I just felt like, as much as I was so upset, like I was genuinely fucking devastated, and it still hurts. Like I can still acknowledge that it hurts me now. It's still quite fresh. This happened yesterday. But above everything, like I let myself have the anger, the anger fully come out. And once that settled, I just felt this immense pride in myself, and I felt so grateful for myself, and I felt so much love and so much compassion and so much safety and sanctuary within myself. And that's been a long time coming. I never used to feel safe, ever. And I think when you have to become your own safe place, and then it finally gets to that point where it clicks and it's like, oh my God, like I am all I've got. Like I am my safe place. I am my home. No matter who I'm with or where I am, like I am my home, and I have everything I need within me to keep myself safe and to bring myself back into my body and just feel myself again. Yeah, this situation really brought up so many things for me, just in terms of like inner child healing, I guess, and just really, like I say, kind of like I was living in a live action remake of my childhood. And for one, something that made me feel so proud of myself and so much better was actually standing up for myself and speaking my truth. And for the first time in my life, not feeling guilty. Like I did later on that night, because I was reflecting, I was maybe overthinking a little bit. And obviously I don't want to be on bad terms with anyone because I love them. But initially it was like the first time that I didn't feel any guilt at all. And it was the first time that I was standing up for myself, and I was thinking fully about myself for the first time ever. And like I say, this situation hasn't happened since late teens, early 20s, if that. So reliving all of this again was just very intense, and it was just so interesting to kind of witness it and see how far I've come, and see how the inner work and the healing and everything that I've been doing, how much that has helped me, and how much that has helped me like gather the tools and the resources within myself and create a safe place within myself to retreat back to when shit like this happens. And I've not had to use those resources in a long time, because I've spent a lot of my life just kind of wanting peace and just wanting to avoid shit and not get into drama and whatever. Don't get me wrong, I did still get into drama. Not into drama, but like with my parents, like I would still say the occasional little dig, because I just don't like being in the same environment where such injustice is happening. I know I keep saying injustice. I know that sounds dramatic, but it's the only way that I can really explain it. Basically just things not being very fair, and seeing such a power dynamic, like an unequal power dynamic, an unhealthy and toxic power dynamic. But that was something that was really, really healing for me, to finally, like in a situation like that, rather than thinking about, oh my God, I've upset them, like they only did it because they love me, they only did it because they care, just completely not even feeling that anymore, not even considering that for a split second, because I just thought, you know what? No, this is my life, and I work so goddamn hard, that I work so hard to get out of this situation that I'm in right now. I am constantly working. I work so hard on myself, and not even work hard, but I just do so much inner reflection and inner healing and all of that stuff, trying to just protect my energy and create a beautiful life for myself, because that's not something that I knew when I was a kid. So when you put so much time and so much effort and so much love into yourself and your life and the life that you're building, you don't tolerate anybody else's bullshit. You do not tolerate it, even if they're your own parents. And I am very much somebody who respects my family. I adore my family. My family always are at the forefront of my mind, and I care about them a lot, and I would do anything for my family. I forgot what I was saying, but I think I was saying it was the first time that I've truly stuck up for myself and not felt any guilt and not felt the obligation to think about other people. Because when I used to have these tantrums when I was younger, not tantrums, I didn't have a tantrum, I just let my emotions come out because I'm a fucking human. And if you're gonna press me, if you're gonna literally dig and just try to get something out of me, I'm going to explode. I can't just pretend I'm not a human being. I can't pretend that I'm just this, oh, I am such a happy little girl who is very willing and very happy to accept anything that you're going to tell me about myself. I'm so happy for you to call me a liar. I'm so happy for you to tell me that I'm a piece of shit, a little bitch, all of that. I'm so happy. I am the perfect child. No. Fuck that. I do not care for that anymore. And it's such a liberating feeling, and it's so freeing to feel that, because it's it feels like there's been a shift in just the way that I respond and the way that I view myself and I look after myself and I love myself. It also made me think or realize how important it is for you to, when you are getting into a relationship with somebody, if you've got daddy issues or whatever, because I feel like this is the daddy issues video, I guess. But I think when we have daddy issues, we can tend to attract and manifest in similar situations and similar relationship dynamics as we did with our father, and we attract people who are kind of like our dad in a way, which is always fucked up. And I would say that my first boyfriend was very much my dad, and not in every way obviously, but it just in the way that he spoke to me, the way that he didn't really respect me when I think of it, and there was just an underlying tone that was very much like my dad. And I noticed oh my God, I've attracted a relationship like my mum and dad's, which is something that I said that I always didn't want. And if I didn't have that self-awareness, and if I didn't do the healing work and go through all of the shit, I could have so easily attracted another relationship like that into my life, and I could have just kept repeating that cycle over and over again, and just allowing other people to really reinforce that belief that I'm not good enough, and that I'm a liar, and that I don't deserve to be loved. And I find it so sad to think that a lot of people out there, a lot of girls, get stuck in these cycles, and they get stuck in these cycles of being treated badly and thinking they deserve it. That's the reason that they attract these kind of relationships, because that's all they think they're worthy of. As long as the person loves them, that's fine, because that's all I used to think of, oh, as long as they love me, even if they hurt me, it's because they love me. And I just want to tell you guys that love doesn't need to be painful. Love doesn't need to be so dynamic and toxic and so unsafe feeling. When you have daddy issues, you need to make sure that you are prioritizing a relationship that makes your inner child feel safe over a really passionate, really dynamic, really kind of toxic relationship, which I know that a lot of us have probably fallen victim to, and that we probably keep getting ourselves into. At the end of the day, it is so much more important for you to be able to come home and your partner is supportive, your partner wants to hear you, your partner wants to listen to what you have to say, your partner wants to just be there for you and hold you and cuddle you and just put the world to rights, even if they don't say anything at all. There's just an aura about them, you'll feel it when you meet them. There's just something about them that makes you feel safe, and that makes you feel like your inner child is protected and that your nervous system is safe and regulated. And that was never something that I looked for when I was seeking relationships. I always watched the rom-coms and I was always seeking the passionate kind of crazy love and the fucking love songs and the romantic cheesy shit, which you can still have all that. You can still have the cheesy shit, but it doesn't need to be so up and down all the time. You don't need a relationship that's so up and down. And I think if you're getting yourself into relationships that are so up and down, it's probably because you've got some unresolved things going on beneath the surface that you need to look at. It's just so important to get in a relationship with somebody who is going to make you feel safe. Because honestly, for me to be able to have left this house yesterday and know that I've got someone safe to turn to, because you can be your own sanctuary, you can be your own safe place, whatever, but like, if you are wanting a relationship, you should be wanting that same kind of safe place in your partner. You can't just be doing all the work constantly so that you can be your own safe place. And I think when you're in a healthy relationship, it really just, it takes the load off, because you both do it for each other and you don't want to have to go through life feeling like you're alone all the time and feeling like you have to tackle all your demons and be your own safe place all the time. Like, it's nice to have somebody who can be that safe place for you when you just don't want to speak, when you just want to sob and cry and lay in their arms. Like, it's so healing. So I think if you are trying to manifest a relationship into your life or whatever, or you're dating and you seem to be getting into all of these toxic situationships and getting with people who just clearly don't care about you, like they're not texting you back, they're not wanting to see you all the time, they're not obsessed with you, like, you just don't want to be entertaining anything like that. I don't know how this went into like a relationship chat. I actually don't know. Anyway, so all this to say that I just wanted to talk about this and kind of share this kind of story, I guess, like this side of me or this thing that I went through, even though it's vulnerable and it was difficult to fucking talk about. I just wanted to share it with you guys because while I was in the car reflecting afterwards, I was driving to my boyfriend's last night after it happened, and I was just sobbing, like I was crying in my car because I was thinking, there are girls out there who are in this situation as well, and maybe they're teenagers still, maybe they're still living at home, they're in this same situation, but they don't have the freedom to go out and go for a drive when things get difficult, or they don't have the freedom to speak their mind, they don't have the freedom to go and see their boyfriend. That person was me. I never had any of that freedom when I was a teenager, and up until a few years ago, really. So I think that's why I felt it so deeply, and it hurt me so much, because as much as it was kind of like a breakthrough moment for me yesterday, no matter like how difficult it was, it really broke my heart to think of my inner child going through that, but also to think of anyone out there right now who is going through that at the minute. And I guess I just wanted to say, like, it gets better. It 100% gets better, and you can create the life that you want to create for yourself. And even though I'm still living in this house now, like, girl, I am working on the job applications. I've applied for so many jobs. It's just not coming through at the minute, but there's a reason. There is a reason for everything, and I'm trusting in the universe. But like, I am actively working towards getting out and moving out and having my own space. But even though I'm still in this situation now, even though I'm still in this same situation that hurt me, I have still been able to cultivate peace for myself, and I've still been able to cultivate a safe sanctuary for myself. And I'm not saying like, oh, I'm happy, I'm cured, I'm fixed. I'm not saying any of that, because it still hurts me. It breaks my heart, like, to think of all the things that I've had to deal with and all the things that so many other people deal with. It fucking destroys me. But you just get so much stronger and more resilient to things. You just feel so much more capable of dealing with it. And like, it does get easier. Even though it's still there, like, it does get easier. So if you are going through anything like that at the minute, if you're in a toxic household, a toxic environment, you feel like you're not allowed to speak your mind, you feel like you've had to spend your life not speaking your mind and just trying to please other people for your own safety, your own perceived safety, it gets better. It genuinely gets better, and it can get better while you're still in the same situation. I mean, I'm going to do a whole other video on this, but I feel like there is only so much that you can heal in the place that hurt you. I've just had to wait for all the noise to die down, so I've kind of forgot what I was saying, as usual. But basically, I feel like even if you are still in this toxic situation, you can still make the best of the situation that you've got, even when it's fucking hard. Like, it's possible. It just takes some work, and it takes some extra energy, which is annoying, but like, what are we gonna do about it? There's literally nothing we can do about it. Like, if this is the time of our life where we need to put more into ourselves, pour more into ourselves so that we can have the best energy or the best fucking chance at surviving, then that's just the era of life that we're in. And I kind of accepted that, and I kind of just understood, like, yeah, this is just a time of my life where I need to prioritize my peace, and I need to allow myself to feel all my emotions, and I need to validate myself more than ever, and I need to reaffirm to myself all of the opposite things what I was told when I was a kid. Honestly, guys, I was told so much shit about myself when I was a kid. I was spoken to so poorly, and like, for so many years I was told like that I'm crazy, and like, oh, well, you make out you have a bad childhood, blah 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 blah. And yeah, like, I did. I used to deny it for so long, and I used to think that I was just being stupid and I was overreacting, and that I'm just dramatic because that's what I was always told, that I'm too dramatic, I'm too overly emotional, I'm too sensitive. But no, they are the very things that make me who I am, and if I take away those things, I am not me. So if people want to love me without those traits, then they don't love me. This video is super long, so I'm gonna cut that short now. I'm gonna film more videos. Like, I kind of had some more points that I wanted to get to today, but I feel like this was mainly more on just like my experience and like my situation that I had to deal with at the weekend. But I just want you guys to make sure that you are putting yourself first, and that you are actively working on your self-worth and your self-concept and your self-love, and making that your priority if you're in a situation like this, because that is all you have. You can't rely on anybody else to tell you things, because if you do, then you would listen to your parents when they tell you that you're not good enough. And it's all a lie. It's all their projections onto you. Like, it's nothing to do with you at all. It's just how they feel internally. All of their demons and all of their battles, they're projecting onto you, and that has nothing to do with you. You just have to double down on working on yourself, and not working on yourself in a way like, oh, I need to fucking work on myself, but in a way where it's like, I want to work on myself because I love myself, and I want to make sure that I feel safe, and that I'm not in a situation where I am constantly fired up and I'm constantly feeling scared, I'm constantly feeling anxious and shaking and feeling sick to my stomach, having panic attacks. Like, no, you do not want to be doing that to your body. You don't want to let your body go through that. You really need to just double down on caring for yourself in the way that you wasn't cared for, or the way that you're not being cared for, because it's shit. It's so shit. Other people have it so much better and so much easier, whatever, but like, that's not our situation. So we have to step up to the plate and take charge. We have to be our parent. We have to tell ourselves all the things that we wish that we were told by our parents. Anyway, I love you guys so much. I hope you guys are all doing well, and I hope you didn't mind me going off on a massive fucking long story. But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I've overshared, but then I'm also like, no, I feel like I need to talk about this and be very transparent with you guys about like the things that I've been through, because I know that when I was going through it, I would have killed to see somebody talking about themselves going through the same thing. Not that I wanted them to go through the same thing, but we want people to, we want to feel like we're a part of something. We want to feel like we're not fucking crazy, and that we're not just like the outlier, and that everything bad is just happening to us. We want to see people who can relate to what we're going through and tell us that it's going to be all right, because it will fucking be all right, okay? It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right for all of us, and we're all going to come out of this shining, thriving, living our best life, and it's going to be amazing, and it's going to be worth every single lesson that you had to learn, every single hardship that you have to go through. It's going to be worth it all. So I love you guys, and I will speak to you on Friday. Bye.